Most men believe love is built through constant presence, constant communication, and constant reassurance. They think the more available they are, the safer and closer a woman will feel. But attraction doesn't work that way. Attraction grows in emotional space, not in emotional crowding. When there is no space, there is no room for desire to develop. Everything becomes predictable, familiar, and emotionally flat. When you are always there, always checking in, always adjusting your time and energy around her, you remove the element of choice. She doesn't get the chance to feel what it's like to want you, miss you, or wonder about you. Your presence becomes expected instead of valued. And when something is expected, it stops feeling special. Love needs breathing room. Without it, feelings don't deepen, they stagnate. Stepping back doesn't mean pulling away emotionally or becoming cold. It means not overfilling every moment with your attention. It means allowing natural pauses in communication. It means trusting that connection doesn't disappear just because you're not constantly reinforcing it. A man who is comfortable with space shows confidence. He shows that he's secure in himself and the connection. That security is deeply attractive. Emotional space also allows polarity to exist. Polarity is a tension between two people that creates attraction. When you're always available, that tension disappears. There's no anticipation, no excitement, no emotional pull. Stepping back restores that balance. It allows her to feel the difference between when you're present and when you're not. And that difference is what creates desire. Many men confuse effort with attraction. They think effort equals value, but attraction responds to emotional experience, not effort alone. You can be doing everything right on the surface and still kill attraction if there's no space. When you step back, you give her room to experience her own feelings instead of constantly responding to yours. Another important truth is that emotional space creates safety. When a woman feels no pressure to constantly engage or reassure, she relaxes. Relaxation opens the door for authentic feelings. Love doesn't grow under pressure. It grows when both people feel free. Stepping back also brings you back to yourself. It shifts your focus from managing the connection to leading your life. That shift is felt emotionally. It changes your energy, and energy is always communicated, even in silence. So understand this: stepping back is not about losing connection. It's about creating the space where connection can deepen naturally. When you allow that space, attraction doesn't fade. It finally has room to grow. Love can only exist where there is freedom. The moment a woman feels pulled, pressured, or emotionally managed, her ability to choose you disappears. And without choice, love turns into obligation, comfort, or routine. This is why stepping back is so important. It removes the invisible pressure that comes from constant attention and allows her feelings to surface on their own. When you are always initiating, always checking in, and always trying to maintain closeness, you take away her opportunity to move toward you. She never gets to feel what it's like to reach out, to wonder, or to desire. Everything is already being given. And when there is nothing left to choose, attraction slowly fades. Stepping back restores balance. It creates a dynamic where she is free to feel what she feels without being guided or influenced by your actions. This freedom is what allows genuine love to grow. Love isn't a response to effort, it's a response to emotional truth. And emotional truth only emerges when there's no pressure to perform or respond. Many men fear that giving freedom will lead to loss, but the opposite is usually true. When a woman feels free, she relaxes. When she relaxes, she connects more deeply with her emotions. And when she connects with her emotions, she becomes more open to love. Pressure blocks that process. Freedom unlocks it. Choice is also what gives love meaning. If she feels she has to reply, has to stay, or has to reassure you, her actions lose emotional weight. But when she chooses to engage, choose to invest, and choose to be present, that choice carries power. It creates a stronger bond because it's voluntary, not required. Stepping back also communicates confidence. It shows that you trust yourself enough not to cling. You trust the connection enough not to control it. That trust feels masculine and grounded. It allows her to feel safe exploring her feelings instead of defending herself from emotional pressure. When you stop trying to secure love and start allowing it, the dynamic changes completely. You move from needing to be chosen to being open to being chosen. That shift is subtle, but it's everything. Love grows where freedom exists. Step back and let her choose you freely. When you invest more emotionally than she does, the balance between you shifts and attraction begins to fade. Love thrives on polarity, and polarity requires two distinct energies. When you overinvest, you move out of your natural leadership role and into a reactive position. Instead of leading the direction of the connection, you begin following her moods, her pace, and her availability. That shift changes how she feels about you, even if she can't explain it. Over investment often comes from good intentions. You want to show care, consistency, and reliability. But when your emotional energy outweighs hers, it creates pressure. She starts to feel responsible for how you feel. That responsibility is heavy, and attraction doesn't grow under emotional weight. It grows when both people feel free to show up at their own pace. Stepping back restores balance. It doesn't mean you care less, it means you stop trying to manage the outcome. You return your focus to your life, your direction, and your purpose. That shift puts you back in a position of leadership. You're no longer reacting, you're grounded and self directed. And that grounded presence is what creates a masculine polarity. Leadership in relationships isn't about control, it's about stability. A woman feels most attracted when she senses that a man is steady, calm, and confident regardless of circumstances. When you overinvest, that steadiness disappears. Your emotional state begins to fluctuate based on her responses. Stepping back stabilizes you, it brings you back to center. Another important element is self respect. When you step back from over investing, you signal that your time and energy matter. You're not available on demand, and you're not trying to earn affection. You're offering connection from a place of wholeness. That self respect changes the dynamic immediately. When you lead instead of follow, she gets to relax into her feminine energy. She doesn't have to decide everything or manage your emotions. She can respond naturally instead of defensively. That relaxation is what allows attraction and affection to deepen. Stepping back isn't about withholding love, it's about restoring balance. When the balance returns, so does attraction. Stepping back has a way of revealing the truth that constant closeness can hide. When you're always present, always available, it's easy to mistake routine for affection and attention for interest. Distance removes the noise, it strips away habits and shows you what's real. That's why stepping back isn't just about increasing attraction, it's about clarity. When you create space, you allow her to respond naturally instead of reflexively. If her interest is genuine, she'll feel the absence and lean in. She'll reach out, engage, and invest without being prompted. That response doesn't come from pressure, it comes from desire, and desire only reveals itself when it has room to move. On the other hand, if she fades when you step back, that information is just as valuable. It tells you that the connection was built on convenience, validation, or comfort, not emotional depth. And while that truth can sting, it saves you from investing further in something that wasn't aligned. Many men resist stepping back because they fear what it might reveal. They'd rather stay close and avoid uncertainty. But avoiding truth only delays the inevitable. Stepping back brings reality to the surface, and reality is always better than illusion. Distance also protects your emotional energy. It prevents you from over giving to someone who isn't meeting you halfway. When you step back, you're not testing her, you're respecting yourself, you're allowing the dynamic to show you whether it's balanced or one sided. This process also sharpens your standards. Instead of chasing interest, you begin observing it. You stop asking how to make her feel more and start noticing how she responds when you do less. That shift moves you from hope to discernment. Stepping back doesn't guarantee she'll come closer, but it guarantees something more important: clarity. And clarity gives you power. It allows you to choose based on truth, not assumption. Distance doesn't create interest out of nothing, it reveals what was already there. And that revelation is essential. When you step back and return your focus to your purpose, something subtle but powerful happens. Your energy shifts. You're no longer watching, waiting, or adjusting your behavior to maintain connection. You're moving forward in your own life, and movement is magnetic. Women don't fall in love with attention alone, they fall in love with a man who is going somewhere. Purpose creates stability. When your life is anchored in goals, discipline, you don't cling emotionally. You don't need constant reassurance because your sense of value comes from within. That inner stability is felt. It shows up in your voice, your timing, and your presence. Even in silence, it communicates strength. A man with purpose naturally becomes less available, not as a tactic, but as a consequence of having a full life. He doesn't disappear, he prioritizes. He chooses where his time and energy go. That selectiveness is attractive because it signals self respect. It tells her that being in your world is something that's earned, not automatically given. When you're deeply engaged in your mission, you stop chasing emotional outcomes. You're not trying to be liked or chosen, You're inviting someone to walk beside you, not complete you. That difference changes everything. It removes pressure from the connection and allows attraction to develop naturally. Purpose also creates polarity. While she's exploring emotions and connection, you're grounded in direction and progress. That contrast fuels attraction. It gives her something to lean into. Without purpose, that polarity collapses and the relationship starts to feel flat or uncertain. Many men think stepping back will make them less important. In reality, stepping back to build yourself makes you more valuable. Not because you're withholding, but because you're growing. Growth is compelling, it creates curiosity, it makes people want to be part of your journey. This doesn't mean neglecting connection, it means integrating it into a life that already has meaning. When your purpose comes first, relationships become an enhancement, not a necessity. And that mindset is deeply attractive. When you step back into your purpose, you stop trying to be magnetic, you simply become it. Stepping back teaches one of the most important lessons in love. You cannot control attraction, but you can create the conditions where it naturally grows. When you stop trying to manage outcomes, you regain your emotional power. You're no longer reacting to every message, every delay, or every shift in her mood. Instead, you're grounded in yourself. That grounding is what keeps attraction alive long term. Letting go of control doesn't mean becoming passive. It means becoming intentional. You choose when to engage, how to show up, and what you tolerate. You stop chasing reassurance and start observing behavior. This shift moves you out of anxiety and into confidence. And confidence is felt far more than words. When a man is emotionally centered, his presence changes. He doesn't rush conversations, he doesn't over explain, he doesn't seek validation. He allows space for connection to breathe. That space invites curiosity and emotional investment. It gives her room to feel, reflect, and respond authentically. Stepping back also helps you detach from outcome dependency. When your happiness isn't tied to her responses, you become more relaxed and natural. That ease is attractive because it feels safe. She senses that you're not trying to pull something from her, you're simply offering yourself. And offers are easier to accept than demands. This mindset also protects you from settling. When you're centered, you don't cling to mixed signals or half effort. You recognize when someone isn't aligned and you're willing to walk away with dignity. That willingness to walk is not a threat, it's self respect. And self respect commands respect. Long term attraction isn't built on constant intensity, it's built on emotional stability. Stepping back creates that stability. It allows both people to chew each other freely without pressure or fear. That choice is what sustains love over time. When you stop trying to make attraction happen and start embodying it, everything changes. You lead with calm, clarity, and confidence, and that's what keeps love alive. Step back, stay centered, and let attraction do what it's meant to do.